Passage 2. Placebo Effect.
Harry S. wanted to quit smoking. So, when he saw an ad for a study on ways to break the habit, he called and offered to be part of it. The research was being done at a local university where Harry and the other volunteers, all people who wanted to quit smoking, were divided into 3 groups. The volunteers in Group A received nicotine gum. That's chewing gum with nicotine, the drug and tobacco that gives smokers the good feeling they get from smoking. When these smokers felt the need for a cigarette, they could chew a piece of this gum instead, and it would give them the nicotine their bodies were used to. The volunteers in Group B, including Harry, got some gum too. Theirs was just plain chewing gum, but they didn't know it had no nicotine. The people in Group C got nothing. A group like this in a study is called the control group. After a 4-hour period with no cigarettes, Harry and the other volunteers had to write answers to a series of questions. Their answers showed how badly they wanted a cigarette. Not surprisingly, the smokers in Group C, the control group, which got no gum, showed the strongest cravings. The smokers in the other 2 groups didn't feel such a strong need to smoke. What surprised the researchers was that the results for Groups A and B were exactly the same. That meant that the plain chewing gum worked just as well as the gum with the nicotine. Why? The researchers thought it was most likely the placebo effect. A placebo is something that seems like a medical treatment, such as a pill or a medical procedure, but that doesn't actually have any direct effect on the body. Sometimes a patient has a good response to a placebo, and when that happens, it's called the placebo effect. The placebo effect was long believed to result simply from a patient expecting to feel better. In 1757, Benjamin Franklin, the American scientist and inventor, described it as the spirits given by the hope of success. People thought placebos tricked patients into thinking they were better when they really weren't, and doctors who didn't believe in tricking patients saw no role for placebos as a form of treatment. However, recent research has proven that placebos can have indirect effects on the body. They can cause changes in brain chemistry, the same kinds of changes produced by drugs. For example, when patients in pain believe that they're getting treatment that will help control their pain, their brains produce natural painkillers. Those painkillers then help block the pain. This means that the placebo effect isn't a mistaken idea in the patient's mind. It's an actual event in the patient's brain. As a result of this new understanding of how placebos affect us, they may come to have a useful role in treating pain and other problems by making use of the brain's own neurotransmitters. We still can't be sure why the smokers in Harry's group felt fewer cravings than expected. Maybe just the idea of getting treatment, nicotine in this case, produced changes in their brain chemistry. But maybe the people working with the volunteers had something to do with it too. A study at Harvard University showed that when people on the medical staff were especially kind and helpful, patients had a better response to a placebo. There could be other explanations too. Maybe the sugar in the chewing gum helped the smokers in Group B feel better. One thing we do know about the placebo effect is that further research is needed.